Before we go through the second unit of the lesson, stay hungry, stay foolish, let us have Brahma. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. In the first unit of this lesson, we discussed that Steve Jobs was invited at the commencement program of Stanford University as a guest. There he delivered a speech related to his life. His first story was about his birth, upbringing, and education. Then we also discussed that he was given admission in a college, and his admission in a college was related to his birth, as his foster parents had promised to the biological mother of Steve Jobs that one day they would make her son a degree holder. So, at the age of 17, he was given admission in a college. After continuing the first 6 months of his college studies, he became a dropout student, as the course did not interest him. But he did not leave the college campus. He remained the 18 months of his college life around the campus and attended the classes that interested him. As you know, the calligraphy classes attracted him. So he attended the calligraphy classes and learned serif and sans serif, typefaces, typography, and how this learning of sans and serif and sans serif, typefaces and typography became very much helpful to him when he set up the Apple Inc. Now let us go through the second unit of the lesson, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. His second story was about his love and loss. I was lucky. I found what I love to do early in life. He considered himself lucky. Why did he consider himself lucky? He considered himself lucky because he got everything what he wanted in his life. We will also call ourselves lucky if we get what we want in our life. He says here that he was lucky as he got what he wanted in his life. I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Oz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. Here I refers to Steve Jobs. I have already explained to you. See, here it is not written I and Wozniak. Oz, the full name of Oz was Steve Wozniak, who was the schoolmate of Steve Jobs. As I have already explained to you, if pronouns of different persons are joined by conjunction and, first comes third person, then comes second person, then comes first person. If you say I, you and he are studying together, it is grammatically incorrect. As we have here nouns and noun and pronoun of different numbers, first will come here, third person and first person is there. So first person will not come first. If you say I and Wozniak, then it will be grammatically incorrect. Steve Wozniak and I. Here I refers to Steve Jobs. So first comes third person singular number, then first person. If two persons are there, third person and first person, then first will come third person, then will come first person. Oz and I started Apple company, Apple Inc. Who started the Apple company? It was Steve Jobs, who started the Apple company with his close friend, Steve Wozniak. And where did they start the Apple company? They started the Apple company in the garage of the first parents of Steve Jobs. Oz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. When Steve Jobs was at the age of 20, he started the Apple company in his foster parents' garage with his close friend Steve Wozniak. We worked hard. See, success does not come easily. Success comes by hard work. If we do hard work, definitely success will come to us. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. See, the company began with 2 persons by the hard work of Steve Jobs and his close friend Wozniak. They would make it a huge company within a short span of 10 years. And in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. See, within a short span of 10 years, it became a huge company with 4,000 employees. We had just released our finest creation, and you know, the finest creation of Apple company was the Macintosh, the first PC, the first personal computer. And they had just released their finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I had just turned 30. So when he was 29 years of age, they released the finest creation of Apple company, that was the Macintosh. A year later, that means when he reached the age of 30, I had just turned 30, and then I got fired. So when he was at the age of 30, he was sold the way out of the company. He was dismissed from the company, or you can say let go from the company, from the job. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? See, the company was started by Steve Jobs. Of course, it was his friend Steve Wozniak who was with him and helped him a lot to grow into a huge company. The company was started by Steve Jobs, and he was shown the way out of the company. You work throughout your life and build a house of your own. When your son gets married, if he drives you out of the home, how will you feel? The same thing was felt by Steve Jobs. He thought, how would he be dismissed from his own company? The company that was started by him. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, see the reason why he was fired or why he was dismissed or sold away out of the company at the age of 30. Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. As Apple company grew, what did they do? They appointed, they hired this. See here it is written the meaning to give job to someone or appointed. Someone who Steve Jobs thought that he was very talented and he would help Steve Jobs to grow the company more and more in future. Well, as Apple grew, we had someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. And for the first year or so, things went well. As you know, there is a saying in English, new brooms sweep well. When the man was hired or given the chance to serve in the Apple company, he worked hard, he cooperated with Steve Jobs, and he did not have any problem. For the first year or so, things went well. He cooperated. That man who Steve Jobs or the company had given the appointment. And for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge. Then the visions of Steve Jobs and the visions of that hired man who Steve Jobs thought that were talented, their views, their visions differed from each other. Their dichotomies go or went into different directions. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually, which means finally, we had a falling out. And you know, fallout is a present verb, which means quarrel. And that hired man or that new appointed man whom Steve Jobs thought was very talented and would assist him for the development of the company started quarreling with Steve Jobs. They had fallout. We had a falling out. Your fallout means quarrel. When we did, when they quarreled, the board of directors took the side of that hired man. The board of directors did not take the side of Steve Jobs, rather they took the side of that hired man. They supported that hired man instead of supporting Steve Jobs. So, at the age of 30, he was out. He was out of the company. He was dismissed from Apple company. He was sold the way out of his own company and very publicly out. And people came to know that the man who had started the company was thrown out of the company, was dismissed from his job and was sold away out of the company. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone. He had spent his adult life for the development of the Apple company. So his adult life that he had spent for the development of the Apple company was gone. What had been the focus of his entire adult life was gone, and it was very much damaging or devastating or causing a lot of damage. I really did not know what to do for a few months. After he was dismissed from the Apple company, he didn't know what to do for a few months. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. And what did he feel? After his dismission from the Apple company, he thought that he had brought the previous entrepreneurs disappointment. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. See, the power was with him, as he was the owner, as he was sole authority of the Apple company, as the company was started by him. But after a board of directors was formed, the power went to the board of directors, and the board of directors had the power even to show the way out of the company to the entrepreneur or to the person who had set up the Apple company. I had dropped the baton. Baton means a small stick generally used by a policeman. It also means that a short stick that is used by the athletes in relay race. He had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. As it was being passed to me, and the power was passed to him, he had dropped that power as he had passed that power to the board of directors. I met David Packard and Bob Nice. David Packard and Bob Nice were in the board of directors. After his dismission from the Apple company, he consulted the board of directors and tried to solve whatever differences he had with that hired employee. But the board of directors took the side or supported the hired employee, and they did not listen to the plea of our Steve Jobs. I met with David Packard and Bob Nice and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly, spoiling something. He became repentant and tried to mitigate and solve the problem. I was very public failure. People came to know that he was dismissed from his own company, and he was a very public failure. And I even thought about running away from the valley, as he was very much disappointed. He wanted not to remain in his own place. He decided to run away from the valley. He wanted to go some other place where people would not come to know anything about him. And I even thought about running away from the valley. But slowly something began to dawn on me. Here, dawn means occur. Dawn means, the first glow of the rising sun is also called dawn. A march. Dawn means also a march. Dawn means dawn on. Dawn on means occur. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still love what I did. I still love what I did. Yes, my dear children, we should love what I do. See, I do the job of teaching. If I love the job of my teaching, I can give my best to my students. So, in our own lives, we should love what we do in our own lives. He still loved what he did. So the turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I had been rejected. He had been rejected from the Apple company. But that did not bring any change in his thought, in his idea. And what was that? He loved what he did in his life. But I was still in love. He was still in love. And what was he still in love? He was still in love in the work that he loves in life. And so I decided to start over. So he decided to start anew. He decided to start over again in life to get success. See what we have read today. Today we discussed Steve Jobs began Apple company in the garage of his foster parents with his schoolmate Steve Wozniak. With the hard work, they could transform the company that was began in a garage into a huge company of $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. As the company grew, they appointed a man whom Steve Jobs thought talented and would help Steve Jobs in the progress of the company. But eventually, they had a fallout. They had a quarrel. As they quarreled, the board of directors supported the hired employee instead of supporting Steve Jobs. So he was sold the way at the age of 30. He thought his entire adult life was spent, which was good for nothing. And he also felt that he had brought the previous entrepreneurs a disappointment. He thought he had let down the previous entrepreneurs after his dismissal from the Apple company. Of course, after his dismissal, he tried his best to solve the problem. So he went and consulted the board of directors. But his plea was not listened. So he was not given the chance again to work in the Apple company. But he loved what he did in his life. So he thought to start over, to start a new life again. In our next class, we will go through the remaining paragraphs of this unit.